Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Minnesota Rack Stars podcast. And today we have our 2024 preseason podcast for you. It's Josh, Travis, and myself discussing everything leading up to this point. We are about a week and a half away. Well, now, somewhere around there, about a week and a half away from the opener of archery season here in Minnesota. Some other states have already opened. Hope everyone is having good luck. But here in Minnesota, we're really anxious for the upcoming season here. So we're discussing kind of our hit list, what we have out there, what we're going to go after, some of the tactics that we're going to use this year. And along with that, we have a special guest on the podcast today, and it is Sarah. It's Travis's wife, Sarah. And ladies, if you're out there listening, gentlemen, if you're there listening, you might want to tune in because everyone knows you have a honey to-do list. And everyone knows when you don't get that task accomplished, things don't go so well in the household. So you might want to listen to this because we put Sarah on the hot seat. We ask her some pretty intense questions regarding Travis and hunting. So with that, I'm going to cut to the chase here. We're going to get to the podcast. I hope you guys enjoy it. Welcome, everyone, to the Minnesota Rack Stars preseason special, and I am joined with Travis and Josh. What's going on, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Well, it's late, but hopefully this is the first of many late nights here this fall. We're, 2 weeks away now from the opener?
2 weeks.
So we got 2 weeks left. Travis and I got to finish up some baseball here. Josh, I heard you might be coming down to watch us.
Yeah, if you guys win on Saturday.
Travis and I play amateur baseball for the town team here. We play for the Buckman Billy Goats. There might be a few people that will stop listening to us now that they know we play for the Billy Goats. But, we're in the state tournament, and this is how my week has gone leading up to this is the third round of the state tournament. So the goal in amateur baseball is to get to Labor Day weekend, right? If you get to Labor Day weekend, if you want to win it all, you got to play 4 games in 3 days. And myself, I'm 39 years old. And this past week, Monday started off at the chiropractor. Tuesday, massage. Wednesday, dry needle. Today's Thursday, therapy and chiropractor. That's how my week has gone leading up to last round of the state tournament here. But, the body doesn't respond the way it used to back in my younger days. How you holding up there, Trav?
I'm not too bad yet. It's slower.
He works out every day.
True. Look at his arms compared to mine. Well, Josh, I got to ask you a question here.
Yeah, holler.
You know, going throughout the off season here, a person always has good intentions of doing things in order to get prepared and get ready for the upcoming season, right? You have maybe a buck that you want to try killing, or some stands you wanted moved to be in the right spot. How prepared are you, and did you get all those things accomplished this past off season?
This is my worst off season I've had so far. Not like bar none. Normally I've shot my bow a ton and I feel real confident going into the season. I barely shot it this year. And I hunt pretty mobile, so I do have a handful of set stands that I like to use, especially for my wife, that are pretty guaranteed. And normally by now I've gone up, checked all the straps, checked the shooting lanes, done some of that work. I haven't done it yet. Barely got my food plots in, and it was no-till method on all of them. So it's pretty quick and easy, non-laborious as possible. So yeah, I'm not feeling overly good compared to other seasons, but I'm not that far behind, I guess.
How are your plots looking?
to be honest, I haven't looked at them since I planted them like a month ago. So I'm gonna find out this weekend.
I'm pretty sure they all washed out today with that storm that come through.
Yeah, and I hunt along the river there, and with about 2 inches of rain the last week, I probably got 3 cameras underwater and half my food plots underwater. So I'm about to find out this weekend.
On my way over to Travis's here, just north of town, there's some billboards that they have up, and one of them, the poles were snapped off like 10 feet up,
Yeah.
and that billboard sign is just laying on the ground right now. We had some heavy winds that came through, and I was just on the front side of the storm on my way home from mowing lawns, and as I'm
Today or on
going through
Tuesday?
What's that?
Today or on Tuesday?
Today.
Today. Okay.
Yeah, so I was in a town of Lastrup, and I was trying to make it over to the daycare to get the girls before the storm come through. And as I'm going through Lastrup, the radio comes on, and tornado warning for Lastrup, and I'm looking around, and I'm just hammering on the old F-150 with the lawnmower just bouncing in the back to try to get out of there. But yeah, I got hailed on a little bit as I pulled into the babysitter's place. There was a branch that actually fell right in front of my truck. It was a smaller branch, so but yeah, I was looking up waiting for the rest of the tree to come down. But yeah, it was a nasty one that come through. I saw some new seeding. There was a culvert that was put in, and they hydro seeded the dirt around the culvert, and yeah, it was just all washed out. We had some heavy rains that come through, but my plots, I did the old I'm running out of time and I want to get them in, and limited access to equipment. What I ended up doing was just broadcasted seed right into the standing weeds and rye that I had, and then just come back through and sprayed everything off. And yeah, I actually got really good germination. I'm pretty satisfied with the amount of germination that I got. The sprayer was kind of a little iffy. There was some nozzles that weren't spraying at times and whatnot, so I didn't get a great kill on the weeds. But as far as my food plot goes, I mean, they're coming up pretty good. My hot chick plot is looking really good. It's probably going to be one of the best clover chicory plots that I've probably ever put in. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Travis, did you get any plots in?
Yeah, we got everything's in. We did a couple early just because we were getting so much rain early on, just to get it kind of going. And here 2 weeks ago or so, we went through some spots and just put forage oats in most of our stuff. We got we put food plots in, but they're right alongside fields or hay fields, most of them. So I mean, we don't really hunt them that much. This with the hay right there, they kind of, I don't know, they'd rather go to the alfalfa than some of our stuff. But
yeah, that's the one thing with farmers like yourself. Your biggest fields are probably your most nutritious fields, compared to your food plots, because you put so much time into grooming them and making sure that they're high in nutrition for the cattle, and what that does in return, I'm sure, kind of spreads out the deer a little bit more. But it's always nice. You guys always have some nice kill plots inside the woods that deer will come out to before they end up making their way to the bigger fields. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm pretty excited about mine as far as my food plots go. They're coming in nice. My corn, Travis and Steve, they always help me out and bring some chicken manure up to my field, and I would say my corn stalks are like 12 feet tall and double cob on just about everything. So I'm pretty pumped about that. I might have to combine it this spring. We'll see.
There you go.
Oh yeah. How about as far as inventory goes, Josh, on a scale 1 to 10? 1 to 10, all right? 10 being you're so excited. 1, let's just move on to 2025. Okay.
For bucks, you're talking, right?
Yeah, trail cam inventory. Where do you sit right now?
Current inventory, like a 3.5 or a 4, but I think there's potential based on what we knew made it through last season, that it could jump up to an 8 pretty quick. But for as good as a quote unquote growing season it's been for deer, we have it seems like lots of 2.5s and 3.5s again. But I said the same thing last year, and I know not all of them died. So it's kind of just waiting for that fall shift to happen and see what all comes back. Because, yeah, and historically, like we talked to, me and you talked on the phone the other day, it was like historically there's a lot more beans around in our like 2-section area, and it's mostly corn this year. So I think that's kind of really changed the dynamic of like where we're at with what deer we're seeing right now. But as soon as either those beans dry up or the beans get picked, I think it's gonna be a whole different ball game for me.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. What crop rotations are in, and it's kind of like one of my permission properties that I have. They really don't show up. And the property that is it's more pasture. But why would a buck who's trying to grow big antlers hang out
Yeah.
and eat pasture grass, and when they have a lush bean field and whatever alfalfa fields that they can go in and get all the nutrients they need to reach max potential and growth. But yeah, so what would you say your property is like? Is it an early season property? Is it a mid season property? Pre-rut? Is it rut or is it post-rut?
No,
How would yours lay out?
I think I would say if I looked at historical data and like kind of where we've been at, I would say I got a good shot anytime from October 1st to November 15th. And then kind of outside of that, it really tails off. Like, I think I can kill them early, like in October, like opening weekends still hit or miss because I think that shift's happening. But as soon as they kind of start breaking up from their bachelor groups and, that first cold front of October always seems to push a lot more deer in. And once they start checking those scrapes, that's when I start, really getting a better inventory of probably what I'm going to have an opportunity at come, at least the end of October, first week in November. Then after rifle season, it seems like it's real hit or miss, and they disperse a lot more. At least for my properties that I hunt.
Travis, what would you categorize yours as? The properties that you hunt?
Probably
Opening
everything.
weekend.
Yeah, opening's good. Rut's kind of it's good, but it's frustrating because it's just so sporadic. But actually, late season might be the best of all. And we got the food out there. They just pile in there. But
Get close
What would
to
you
them.
say is the hardest part about hunting your properties, Travis?
Probably access and crop. Like when the crop gets harvested, there's big ag around us. I mean, there's a couple of fields that are 300 acres, and if that's corn, if it comes off late, that makes a big difference because I think them big bucks, they live in cornfields a lot of times around here.
I'm just envisioning the video that one of our friends sent us this past week.
Oh,
We'll get to that topic in a second here. I would say the properties that I hunt, permission property that I have that I was on last year for the first time. I realized when I was at a rodeo on the opening weekend of archery that this property is an early season property because my target deer showed up that Sunday of the opener in daylight. and I was at a rodeo with the family, which I wouldn't trade that for anything, but still, like, okay, all right.
I would.
So like all my
I would
cameras.
trade the rodeo for a deer.
So I got all my cameras going in that area where that buck was, and I haven't picked him up yet, so I'm kind of in limbo. Is he dead? Is he still alive? I mean, there's not a whole lot of hunting pressure where that's at, but yeah, I've been kind of waiting for something to show up there. I had one decent one show up. It seems like a really young deer. I sent you guys a picture of him. Young deer. I think he is. I don't know. Maybe you think he's older, but I just based off the body type, he looks like a deer that is young but has potential to be in all honesty, like a 200-incher. I mean, he's got like 14 points. I mean, he's got splits coming off, his brow tine split. He's got kickers, but his body just screams young at me. There's the chest, the legs are long. Just something like, man, I hope he can make it through another year because he'd be something special. But speaking of trail camera pictures and all that good stuff, with the drought last year and all the rain we've gotten this year and good growth with all our crops, based off of what you've seen from your friends, Josh, and maybe deer you've seen or scouted and stuff, what would you say has been, like, as far as, well, let me say it this way. Do you feel the antlers have put on a lot, being that we've had, good rain, good growth, or do you figure it's average, or do you think it's below average?
I'd say it's just, I know I haven't seen any like big bucks yet, and that's the honest truth. But I think I think it seems to me anyways, like the 2.5s, and even like there's a couple 3.5-year-olds that I recognize from last year. Like they did have pretty decent jumps, and like the 2.5s, I'm assuming that they're 2.5 anyways, but it seems like they're real young looking, but they got like, pretty decent set of headgear. So I'd say I would agree that it's probably up a bit. Except for that buck I sent you guys the other day that he just won't grow.
How about you, Trev?
Going into the year, I thought we'd get a huge jump. It's not as big as I was kind of thinking. I thought we had a good amount of, I don't know if there were 3.5-year-olds that we found sheds from, and they're pretty solid deer, but they don't really jump out at you like, holy crap, that's a for sure shooter,
Yeah.
But they're solid deer. I'm definitely got a good group to go after. But we don't. It's a pretty typical, better than last year, but pretty typical year. We got some real good bucks, but nothing that's lose your mind over,
Yeah. So on a scale, where would you put yourself as far as 1 to 10?
Probably 7-ish, I would say.
Nice.
I think there no excuses this year not to get one. I kind of think between me or Dad.
Yeah, I think you guys.
Myself, on a scale, I would say I'm probably around. I would have to say 6, 7, probably somewhere in there. I mean, I've got some decent deer on camera, in-state, out-of-state, permission properties. I own, we own a couple properties. So yeah, I mean, we've got decent inventory, but like Travis said, nothing jaw-dropping. Getting to, do I think the antlers have really blown up this year, or kind of maintain? I don't know. I would say I don't know. We picked up a couple videos from one of our buddies that he got sent to him. Well, it was Ruckert. Some of his buddies sent him videos of these bucks, and it was within hours. The first one, a dude was at work, and all of a sudden he's looking outside, and there is what did he say? He felt it was 180 inches.
He said for sure 180. He thought
with a
his bag
6-7 foot drop tine hat on him, but just width on him. He was really
7
wide.
foot drop tine.
Did I say 7 foot?
Yeah.
7 inches. My bad. That's bad. It's late, Josh. Come on. Yeah. So
there's 72 inches right there.
He's just dragging it in the dirt the whole time. So yeah, he sends us that. It was pretty comical. If that deer gets shot, we'll have to share that video because it's a pretty comical video. His buddy's getting pretty worked up. But yeah, so he videos that, and then like, I don't know, 3 hours later, he messages us, "What is going on today?" And I knew, somebody saw another buck or whatever. And here, another one of his buddies was driving on a road, and there's just a mammoth. What was it, an 8 or 9 or?
At least an 8. I don't know. It was tall, thick.
Oh, Josh, you saw the video, right?
Yeah.
I'll let you explain how long you thought those G2s were on that buck. I don't know the difference between feet and inches.
Like every single one of these G2s behind me combined.
I know, right? It was a big deer. That was a
Yeah,
really big
it
deer.
was a
But yeah,
hammer.
and
Yeah, it was a big deer.
so what I did after he said, what is going on today, I just went back and looked on weather underground. Like, okay, I just want to see what the heck was going on, if there was anything drastic, in the temperature or pressure or whatever. And the one thing that I saw that happened was the humidity dropped off considerably
Mm.
during that time frame. It was at like 100%, but it wasn't raining. Like, I woke up that
Yeah.
morning and I couldn't see out my windows in my house.
Yeah.
It was so humid outside, but the one thing I did see was humidity dropped off big time. So I don't know if that was part of it or if it was just stupid luck that ended up seeing two booners basically, within an hour sent to them.
Yeah, I feel like today my cell cameras were hopping all day long.
Oh,
Like
really?
before the storm, yeah. I mean, and that
I
could have just
suppose.
been me and my location, but it's like I had more cell cam pictures in 6 hours from 8 a.m. till about 2 or 3 p.m. today than I had in 2 weeks of having them out there.
So you're running yours on instant right now, like timely? They just send you whenever you
Yeah.
take a picture? When
Yep.
do you switch it to that right away?
Normally, like during the season, I'll change them off of instant. But I don't know. I feel like a little guilty during mid-season, and that's the honest truth. I'll change them to like daily, so it sends it one time a day instead of getting them all the time. Just because I never, I'm still kind of nervous about like if you happen to get a picture and then you killed them an hour later, like what would the repercussions be? So I try to hedge my bets on the safe side. Um, so I actually will change that coming up. But yeah, right now I have just all of them on instant.
Um, I know, like myself, I I have 'em right now. I have them set twice a day, and
Mm-hmm.
more or less, I don't know. It's something for me to look at when I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, wide awake,
Yep.
and then
Christmas
just
every day.
a little midday pick me up. When you're
Yep.
trying to get through the day, and all of a sudden you're waiting for noon to come around, then all of a sudden they send to me, and either it's a pick me up or let me down type of day after that. But um, do you run yours on video mode? That was a question I wanted to ask too.
None of mine have video options on them. So it's
Okay,
just all I only have picture choices on my
sure.
cell cameras.
Are you just running
Yeah.
pictures too, Travis?
The stealth, yeah, stealth cams. I got them on picked on video.
Okay.
I do
I know one
have a
thing,
couple
like,
like of my. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, so I do have a couple cameras on video, but like they're like the 4K resolution, non-cellular cameras. So like I have those over scrapes all year round. Just because I like
I
those
know,
high quality scrape videos, because there's a lot of movement and activity going on normally around them.
sure. I know when I first purchased one of my cameras that I had it on video mode. It was the old school, the panoramic one. That was a Moultrie panoramic, and they took D's, and I think it made it a week in the middle of the winter, and batteries were dead.
Yeah.
And now I'm running a lot of tact cams, and I got every one of them hooked up to a solar panel, and I've been running one out in South Dakota since April, and it still shows 100%. Those solar panels, it's hard to
Way to
bite the
go.
bullet, man, and buy those solar panels. But I'll tell you what, I'm saving a lot of money in the end. And then the other thing is that I don't have to worry about going out there and switching the batteries or
No.
missing that stuff. I actually have. I've told you guys this already, but I have one camera going right now. It's not a tact cam, but it's running on a solar panel, and I have zero batteries inside the camera, just straight solar panel, and seems to be doing pretty good because every time I drive up to it or whatever. It's popping pictures off, and that's something that I've kind of transitioned to. And I'm not too worried about missing pictures if something doesn't work or whatever, because how often does it happen too where you actually put cameras in a battery and it still doesn't work that way either? So,
Right.
but yeah, I've been running solar panels on all those guys, and it's nice to know that I got 100% battery there and I can just cut it loose. The only problem is right now the camera I got in South Dakota was doing really good, and it's in an area that it's like moderate service, and it hasn't sent a picture in like, I don't know, I think it's getting close to a week. But the last pictures I had were cattle coming into there. Yeah, so I think the cattle might have knocked her down to the ground. That'd be my
Yeah,
guess.
there's a good chance. Those
Yeah.
damn things.
Oh,
I don't have
But-
any cameras in South Dakota this year. I'm envious of you when you're getting them, except for the cattle, because I dealt with the cattle too out there, and I was just like, damn it.
oh, that's the worst when all of a sudden you get like 100 some pictures that upload and it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
straight cattle.
Yeah, that's you turn that thing off and wait until they're not in there anymore.
Okay, so this is kind of a pretty big item here. Okay.
Hmm.
There's something that every one of us needs to accomplish before the season starts, and we only have, well, it'll be a week and a half now or so. The honey to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
Travis, have you accomplished everything in the honey to-do list? Ooh.
Coincidentally.
You know what? We have a special guest right now.
I heard that.
We have a special guest right
great
now.
timing.
Speaking about great timing, this is really might put a damper on my hunting season.
Travis and Sarah are expecting here. When are you guys expecting?
Not talking about it.
Oh,
Peak.
No. End of November.
End of November. All right. All right.
You'll get her done before then.
So we have a special guest here for those of you listening. It is Travis's wife, Sarah. And we're going to do a little something fun here right now. Travis, I'm going to ask you to leave the room, give the headsets to Sarah.
Good. Need a beer.
I need
You
one
go
too,
hang out in the
Travis.
garage.
Remember
Yeah,
the-
go check on the kids. All right. All right. So we have Sarah here. Sarah's a big supporter of the Minnesota Rack Stars and her husband, Travis, who's been the reigning MVP for the past how many years? Sarah, let me ask you a question. How confident are you in Travis shooting a deer this year?
was last year an off year?
It
For
was.
him.
He didn't get one last year.
Then I'm pretty confident. He doesn't have many off years, so if we skipped a year, I feel like we're not doing that twice.
Yeah, he's got to figure that out. And do you think? Okay, this is a great question. Do you think sometimes he passes on deer just so that he
Yes.
can continue to go out hunting
You
and
don't
not
need
have
to
to be at
finish that
home?
question. Yes, 100%.
Oh, Josh, if you think of any good questions here as we go along here, I want you to jump on
I
in.
will.
All right. Okay.
I feel like I got to be careful though, because Sarah talks to my wife, so I got to like kind of
Wives united. We always communicate.
I got to flirt this line a little bit here.
What is one thing Travis could do to revoke all of his hunting privileges?
Mm.
What's one thing he could do that would really tick you off and say, you know what, Travis, you're staying here today. You're not going out hunting.
Yeah, just for one day,
Ooh.
not for eternity.
Not indefinitely.
Okay, one day. We'll go one
Yeah.
day.
That is a loaded question. I usually leave Travis's communication skills are less than ideal. I knew that Joe was coming as he pulled in the yard today, and apparently this has been planned for a little bit. So I would say if I leave like even a short to-do list and he doesn't accomplish it and then he's heading out to the bow stand, he's not heading out to the bow stand. That to-do list will get completed before he goes. It's not usually hard.
You got to
You're
get
not
out of here.
supposed to be
You got to get
here.
out of here. You can't hear because you got to answer the questions.
It's never a can't be achieved to-do list. It's usually pretty minimal, but he can milk out a to-do list as good as anybody.
Is he gone? All right. What does he need to do yet? What is at the top of the to-do list that he needs to accomplish before season starts?
I have a dead maple tree in my yard that I've been asking for a couple months that he'd dig out, but he'll get around to it. He hasn't had the time yet. That is the biggest thing I think I want right now. Otherwise, he's pretty helpful with things.
All right.
Will it help
A
if they win
maple
the
tree,
state
though.
tournament or not?
What's
You
that,
already
Josh?
said I said, would it help if you guys win the state tournament?
No,
Oh.
not at all. Because then we're going to get home late Monday night.
Yep.
2 of our kids start school Tuesday morning. Everybody's going to be angry. And mom gets to get them up for school in the morning while Trav's milking cows. So I'm cheering for the Billy Goats to make it the whole way. But it certainly wouldn't make things easier. But we'll manage. We always do.
How many times have you guys gone hunting together?
Oh, man.
Just a rough estimate.
Honestly, only once or twice.
Okay.
I
okay.
grew up hunting, rifle hunting. Since I started having kids, I just haven't prioritized it, I guess. I have other hobbies and I work full time, so I just don't take the time to go with him. But I think when we were dating or engaged, I'd go out and like film a hunt with him. But I don't even want to tell you this. It's almost embarrassing. I've never shot a bow in my life.
There's a lot of people that haven't.
I know, but I'm married to a rack star. So
The rack star.
It kind of seems like it shouldn't be a thing, but always rifle hunted, never bow hunted, and just haven't gotten into it.
You know, I think there's positives to it too. I mean, like Kaylee, my wife, she's never hunted in her life. You know, I think she has her firearms, safety certificate and all that stuff, and she just, I don't know, it's kind of nice to have that balance too, to some degree. Josh, you're kind of on the other end of the spectrum where Ashley does a bunch of hunting, and there's pros and cons to that too at times. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of positives, but there are some negatives as well. My wife, she continuously asks me, why do you keep going out hunting if you never shoot anything? So
Loaded question.
Thanks for the confidence.
Yeah. I would say the worst part
Josh, what would you say?
I was going to say the worst part for me is that every good stand that I have, if Ashley sits in at one time, it turns into Ashley's stand from there on out. So Ashley has like 6 Ashley stands, and I keep finding new ones.
Fair. The season of life we're all into, we all have little kids at home. If both mom and dad are going hunting, you have to plan ahead and coordinate childcare, and somebody needs to be there. We all work full time on the side too. It almost gets to be a difficult hobby if both of you are super into it. It's more of a commitment than anything.
Yeah, normally, like if Ashley wants to hunt, then I'll sit back with the kids unless we can find a babysitter. And thankfully, our parents are close, so it makes it a little easier. But normally I'll give it to Ashley. And Ashley's a little bit more fair weather, so obviously, like early season into October is more focused on her, and then I'll stick it out, when the temps start dropping a lot more.
That is very gentlemanlike. If I ever told Trav I wanted to go out and bow hunt, I can pretty much guarantee he wouldn't volunteer to stay home and parent. That he would be itching and antsy, and there's
but
no
I do
way.
travel a lot, so I have to. So when I'm home, I have to do that.
That's fair.
I got to give yourself, my wife, and all the other ladies out there, and maybe there's, the wives, maybe there's husbands that don't hunt, but the wife does, whatever. Whoever stays home with the kids, we give you guys mad props for doing it, because we understand how difficult it is to take care of the kids by yourself. and that's why we're motivated to go out hunting quite a bit. But no,
Real
but in all
busy.
honesty, you guys do a lot for us all the way around. I mean, doing all that, it takes a tough, strong-willed individual to be able to do that stuff. So I mean, props to you guys for doing that. As far as when the hunting season starts, there's obviously there are struggles. I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. When you're home with the kids, there's screaming, crying, and when fall comes, it gets dark out earlier. So now the kids are, maybe a little more wound tight because they feel like they should be going to sleep, but it's not their bedtime yet, whatever. There is frustration during that time with the kids when you're home. What about what's your favorite part of the hunting season?
When he brings home pictures of the deer he's chasing, or when he gets one. The last buck he got would have been 2 seasons ago, and he called me at work and asked me to leave work early. When I got back to him, he already had the kids from daycare. He picked them up like 2 hours early, and he was bringing them home to show him his buck. And he's like a kid in a candy store. He is so excited. He wants to take pictures with it. He wants the kids to see it. That it really makes it worth it. He loves it, and it's a healthy hobby.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. There's a lot of unhealthy hobbies out there, and being in nature and in the woods, it's certainly not a bad one to have.
It's healthy until the blackberry starts rolling down.
It is healthy until you guys tag out on a big buck. Then it leads to a very long night of single parenting.
Yeah.
Usually a rough morning.
All right, here's the last and probably the most difficult question. Mustache or no mustache?
No.
Okay.
Travis is the guy that you would hide your children from in the grocery store if you walked past him right now. He looks scary.
I thought
We
about
got,
going and shaving mine quick. I was a little jealous.
Yeah, you're a little out of the loop, Josh. We got some interesting beard and mustache cuts going on for the baseball tournament this weekend, but Travis usually keeps his mustache for hunting now, doesn't he?
He
Oh, yeah.
finds any excuse to wear it. Yeah, it's kind of a preferred thing for him. But tonight, I don't know. I was messing around the house and Joe walked in, and my face just gravitates. Like, just what is that?
It's not good. It's not.
Steve had one for forever.
And Grandpa Steve can pull off a dirty mustache because his hair is so dark.
I think Travis can.
It's in our genetics.
Travis looks good too. Yeah.
It's in our genetics.
Travis looks a little more petty.
Hey, a wise man once told me, when you're good, you're good.
Exactly.
All right. All right, Sarah. You're off the hot seat. Unless you have anything else you want to add.
Yeah.
Josh, you got something?
No,
you got a question?
I was asking if Sarah had any questions.
There you go.
For us.
That's a good idea.
You guys gotta let me prepare for this. You can't just throw me in the throwing questions at me. I need time to process. I need to think about it a little bit. I'll come up with some. I'm just not ready now.
That's when it's the best, and you just gotta wing it. That's the way I live my life. I just wing everything.
What age do you start taking kids out with you?
Ooh, Josh, I'll let you go first. Are you talking actually hunting or just taking them out?
Sitting with you in the bow stand, not hunting. They can't hunt till they're 12, 10?
Well, yeah. Josh?
So I haven't taken Case into a stand yet, but he's been into ground blinds with me.
But into a bow stand?
Yeah, so I did it when he would have been 3.5. And pretty much every year since then, I don't do it a lot, but normally once or twice a year, he comes with me and it's a deal for us, and we get to watch some does. And I never take him to a good spot, unfortunately, but that's just because I'm I don't want to wreck the spot. And
early season when it's warmer.
Yeah, when it's warmer, try to time it when the bugs aren't too bad. But it's hard to get a kid to sit for 4 hours or 5 hours. So taking him to a good spot and then leaving at 2 hours before sundown, that's not the best idea, right? So normally what I found, he's getting better, now he's 6. So this year he could probably sit for most of the time and do just fine. But historically, it's been when the snacks run out, you got about 5 more minutes. So you got to plan for that. And it can be a lot, and keeping them entertained is as much of a learning curve for you as it is for them.
Yeah, I try to get my girls out once, maybe twice a year as well. I should just say, 90% of the time I take them out there. That way you can hold Travis to a little higher standard, and he can take the kids with every time.
He has asked them, and they're to the point now, like, well, how long do I have to sit still?
Sure, yeah.
And so they're like, not that interested.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter, Harper, I could take her out in the stand with me, and she's pretty good. She's pretty patient. Ivy, she's 4 years old. She just turned 4 here.
No way.
No. She came out with me last year, and it was. My wife will not let me release this video because she'll be embarrassed of it. But I brought him out last year, and we were in a box blind, and it was October, and I tried getting a hold of some babysitters. Kaylee went on a trip, and it was just myself and the girls, and I tried getting a hold of a babysitter, and there was no babysitter available. So I said, all right, tonight's the night. You guys are coming out hunting with me. I just had the itch. I wanted to go. Anyways, I go out there, and girls were pretty good. Well, then Ivy had to pee, so then I'm holding her out, out of the box blind, taking a pee. And, so that finished up. We saw a couple does or whatever, and it's tough because the windows are up so high, so you're holding them up to try to see the deer and showing them with the camera, with the lens, angled down at them, whatever. Anyways, we're on the way out. We left. There was some daylight left. And I'm like, yeah, we're not going to see anything else. So anyways, we start walking, and I'm holding Ivy, and Harper, I had her come out with us, and I had her bring her toy bow with. It's like one of those bows that, it has like the suction cup on the end of the arrow. And I brought that with. And my goal was for her to draw back on a deer and actually shoot at one. That was my goal with that toy bow that she has. And, if a little fawn or something to come out, just pull back and shoot, that'd be pretty cool. Anyways, so she's walking in front of me on the way back, and I'm holding Ivy, and I'm sitting there videotaping Harper. And all of a sudden I'm feeling this vibration on my arm as I'm holding her, and she's just letting them rip right on me. And you can hear it on the phone. She's just cutting them loose. And I'm like, are you tooting on me? And she's like, yeah. So as we're walking out, and Harper's just losing it as we're walking out. But that's gonna be a memory I'll have for a long time, and to get it on camera too is pretty cool.
That's
but
funny.
there's a lot of good memories I have going out with my parents, bringing me out there and whatnot, and just kind of want to recreate those memories for the girls. And I don't know when they're going to start putting those in their memory bank. They might not remember any of this stuff, but I think you got to introduce them to it, at a younger age. And it's kind of one of those things where, this is what we do. You start teaching when they're younger. This is how we live, and this is what we do. And, it kind of sticks with them and just becomes second nature. But yeah, as far as actually sitting with me when it's game time, that'll be a little bit yet.
Yeah, there.
Maybe during rifle, I'll probably take Harper out here. I don't know. Probably in maybe this year already.
There's some nice and close stands out there that they'd stay warm and
like during rifle or something. But the thing is, like, I don't know. Like myself, I haven't bought a rifle tag in I don't know how many years.
I was going to ask you, have you ever? I've never known you to go sit rifle hunting and shoot something.
Yeah, no. The last time I shot something with the rifle, I think was in a buck in Minnesota. Was like 2006.
Oh,
I enjoy archery hunting too much, and the other thing is to shoot something with the rifle, for me, it has to be pretty darn big. I'm talking a really big deer. I shot a mule deer out in South Dakota a few years back, and it was cool shooting it, but I know it's not always like this, but that scenario was just so easy. It was just like the only challenge was walking from walking a mile to get closer
Okay.
to it, and making sure nothing saw us. But that was the biggest challenge. But as soon as he come out, I was sitting there with the crosshairs on him and making sure the camera was on him. And my buddy's sitting there saying, "Are you going to shoot this deer? Are you going to shoot this deer?" And I just looked at him. I said, "This deer's dead." And
It's not the adrenaline rush.
it was 5 seconds later, I pulled the trigger and boom, he dropped right in his track. But
Fair.
yeah, when you're trying to get a camera on a deer in frame, in focus, get the deer within range, pull back your bow, make sure he's still in the camera, lens, and put a good shot at him, and range him, all that stuff is going on. There's so many factors going on. I just like that challenge, and I don't know, that's kind of what I've adjusted to, and that's kind of been the way I've been going. But Travis, I don't think he's bought a rifle tag in like 8 years or something.
I think when we were dating, so 9-10 years ago, he'd sit in a stand with his sister Hannah, with no intentions to ever actually shoot a deer himself, just to be there with Hannah. Otherwise, I don't know him to ever have shot a gun either. So then when we just realized that this was coming in November, we have gone early historically with our first 3. So he's like, I really hope it's during rifle, because as a bow hunter, he hates seeing people drive by that are, scoping out our property. And every once in a while you see somebody who has a gun hanging out the window. You know what they're up to, that he does. I don't think he'd mind missing a couple days of rifle around here.
Yep. I know we've talked about it many times, just going out of state or just go hide in the parlor. We're all going to help Travis milk during rifle season.
Yeah, you guys put a ton of time and effort and work that it sucks those 9 days of.
Yeah, and I mean it is what it is. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that just rifle hunt, but it's one of those things where you can't get too attached to the deer that you see, but you just hope everybody is doing things ethically.
I find it really funny to hear you say that. You shouldn't get too attached to the deer that you see. Don't you name all the deer?
Well, you do, but in the back of your mind, you gotta be realistic and be like, and this is what I've grown, Sarah. I've grown. Okay, so like like this year, like the pictures I get, I'm like, sweet, there's a cool deer I'm gonna go after, but it doesn't mean I'm getting them. You know what I mean? Like the properties that I hunt are big, timber, wooded, lots of hunters around. So like the chances of you capitalizing on that deer, it's pretty difficult, So you try to stay optimistic, but at the same time be realistic. That's kind of the way I view things now, and I'm just gonna try to go into this year with a little more of that mentality rather than, okay, here's my target buck. This is what I need to do. I need to do X, Y, and Z. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? I'm just going to go in this year a little more laid back, and hopefully that mindset will, I don't know, help me be successful in the end, in one way or another.
You guys still name all your target bucks, and then we refer to them often throughout the season. So whether or not there's an attachment, it's there.
But Sarah, it'd be like,
I am not out there hunting, but I know their names. Sorry, Josh, I just interrupted you. What?
No, you're good. You're good. I was gonna say, be like, well, if you went to work, you'd be like, oh, who'd you talk to at work? They'd be like, oh, that guy with brown hair and brown eyes. Well, there's fucking 100 guys with brown hair and brown eyes, So you got to put a name to them so that way you can kind of associate when you're talking.
You know which one you're referring to?
Well, I mean, I do because I remember it all, but if you're talking to somebody else, right?
How many blackberries have you guys had?
Oh, too many. I've retired from that stuff.
No, from the name.
Oh, the
Every
name.
Season
okay.
We have a deer named Blackberry that you guys are watching and after.
There's only
Blackberry,
2.
Senior, Junior. I don't know. What are all the names the further you go along? I don't know.
I had them all out there. I don't remember them either.
The 4th.
There you go. We'll just do that.
Whatever works. Well.
All right.
Is the boss over there?
I don't know. He probably fell asleep. More than likely, he fell asleep. Yeah.
Odds are pretty likely. He's not dipping. He's snoozing.
Yep. All right, Sarah. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see how Travis does. You know what? Maybe you should come back over here and sit. Put him right on the spot.
Ooh, so you can stare at him.
He was watching videos. Sure he was. All right. So Travis is coming back. He's joining us. This is gonna be pretty intense, Travis. So, the first question we asked Sarah was, how confident are you and Travis shooting a deer this year?
Like a scale of
What
1
do you
to
think
10 or
she
what?
said?
Just
What do you think she said?
Yes or no?
Is she confident that you're going to shoot a deer this
Um,
year?
yeah, she knows me.
Ding!
I'm due.
That is a point. All right, next question we asked. Does Travis pass up deer just so that he can continue to stay out in the woods hunting and not have to take care of the kids?
Yeah, might be it. Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely said yes. She knows that for a fact. She said, is it true?
No, I don't know. An early season seems like every year I see a decent buck early. It's like there's always a bigger one you're after, and that's the one you kind of set your goals for. But you see the one, it's like, oh, guys should shoot it, but it's so early, then you're done hunting the rest of the year, and it's not because of the kids, but
Okay.
it's kind of a greed thing, I guess.
That is tough when you get those in-betweener bucks that show up early season and you're like, do I or don't I? Do I or don't I? And then it's, you got to go all in. There's
This
Josh.
is one for me right here.
What was the story behind that one?
Had him opening weekend at like 25 yards, and I passed him because I was hunting a bigger one, and I found him dead that spring. So, yeah, that's one I'm
You
like,
still got him.
Probably should have shot him. Yeah, but it's different when it's not,
Still got him.
Yeah.
So you found that one dead. Okay. Josh just showed us a European mount of, how many point is that guy? He's got good mass.
He's a 9, but he was a 10. He had a big split G2, like it actually got double G2 actually, from the base, and like the one that broke off was bigger, but he's just like a low 30s, probably just a real nice 3.5 or 400-year-old for us. But definitely one that was on our hit list, and there was a lot bigger one that one got found dead too in the spring. And it was like, damn it, both their best bucks got found dead, that did get shot. So,
all right, moving on to the next question
is.
here, Trav. What is one thing Travis could do to have his hunting privileges revoked?
I'm gonna guess something like didn't do dishes or didn't take a shower and sleep in bed instead of sleeping on the couch. Something like that. It's gotta be
Dishes.
revoked.
So you don't do the dishes? You can't go hunting?
Well, I mean, it's. I don't know.
See that thing over there, that dishwasher? That'll wash the dishes. You just got to put them in there.
Yeah, it's difficult sometimes, though.
You're on the right track. She said the honey to-do list. Okay? That's what you need to do. If you don't do the honey to-do list, if she leaves a list and you don't accomplish it, she's not going to be happy with you.
Yeah, you should see that.
The list goes on and on. All right. What is the number one thing at the top of her list that you need to do?
Like today
this
or
season.
this season?
This season.
Yeah.
One thing you need to
Before
do.
this season.
Was it? See, it's you gotta play your cards because there's one thing that's been bugging her, and I won't. I could literally walk out there right now and do it. I kind of leave it. There's a dead tree in our yard. That's got to come out. I could literally probably pull it out of the ground, but sometimes the easy steps you kind of save them, so when the time comes, you can hammer them out quick and get out there.
I did it. I can go hunting now.
There's always a meme or something. It's like the honey-do list. There's something on there that's yes, I'll get it done. You don't have to remind me every 6 months. That's kind of my process.
Yeah, that was it.
Sounds like
The
It was
tree.
easygoing.
the maple tree.
Light
Oh
bulb.
shit.
It was the
Yeah.
maple tree.
Yeah, well, I hear about it every day. It's just like I've got 50 things I could do at any given time. That's tree. It literally would take me a minute to take out, and I could do it, but there's other stuff to do always.
How many times have you and Sarah gone hunting together?
I can think of one time. That was the night you and Kaylee came over and told us you were pregnant. We were just about to go to the stand.
Oh yeah.
Yep, we're hunting on picuses that night. That's the only time I can remember. What'd she say?
1 to 2.
1 to 2. I remember once.
What stand did you sit in?
That stand I always sit in picuses. We just got out there. We're at the truck, and you're like, where are you at?
Oh,
It actually might have been. Was it Halloween? Because you guys were dressed up.
yeah. Yeah, it was that Halloween weekend or
Also,
whatever.
you guys
The
were going
weekday.
down to maybe see Grandpa Gook or something. That will swing in quick and
That was a long night. That was a long night. We it was a weekday, and this is our first kid, so it's a big ordeal. And we went and told my parents, immediate family, and my grandpa on my mom's side. And we said, don't tell anyone. Well, all of a sudden, we find out that he called up his sisters and told his sisters and this and that. So we panicked. We're like, okay, we just need to go and tell everybody. We drove from I don't know if you call it central or northern Minnesota, but up north of St. Cloud. We drove all the way down to the cities and had to tell her aunts and everybody else because we were so nervous that word was going to get out and everybody was going to find out from somebody else. So that's why we stopped through. We were probably on our way to the cities to go tell her aunts. But yeah, that's what it was. Oh man. So yep, 1 to 2, you got it. Stash or no stash?
she's a hard no.
That's true. Yes, she is. No.
Deep down though, I think she kind of likes it, but she wants to play tough.
All right, so you got that one right. All right, last thing. What is Sarah's favorite part of the hunting season?
Besides that, when it's over. Other than that, I think she enjoys when. Oh, I was gonna say she enjoys when family and stuff comes over, but then she enjoys that for a while until it gets to be a late nights and whatnot. But I think she actually kind of enjoys rifle hunting more because then more of her family's up and around, and she gets to see everyone. And her nieces and nephews are around, and yeah, mostly I'd say when it's over.
That was not her answer.
No?
Nope. Her answer was seeing the photos of the deer, trail camera photos, and then also when you get one.
Okay. Well, yeah, positive there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So figure it
Shoot
out.
more deer. That's what I
Well,
heard.
Well, I guess we got to go check trail cameras tomorrow.
Sarah did ask us about bringing kids out to the stand, and you've brought Tucker out already. Have you brought the girls out at all?
Yeah, no, not the girls. The Tucker, he only went once. I've asked him quite a few times actually. This was a couple years ago. He went, and last year I asked a couple times. He never wanted to go, but this year he's got more interest now. He's kind of more independent age, and actually last week when they were moving a stand or setting a new one up or something, and kind of set it up, he was with. That I was got it all set, stood in it, figured out everything's good. I was gonna knock down some branches. Also, he asked if he could climb up there. I was like, yeah, whatever. He'll be fine. It's only 10 feet off the ground. And Also, I was doing something for not even 20 seconds. I turn around, he's up in the stand already. I'm like, "Gee, Dad, I'm actually kind of impressed." And he wasn't like when I was that age and still am. I'm nervous in a tree always without a harness on, and he's
Yeah.
just standing up there and it's like, maybe we should maybe look at like a safety harness for him and put up an extra stand in some spots. And I don't know if his patience can handle it, but he's a little more interested anyways.
Yeah, you can tell he's maturing a lot as time goes on here. Yeah, that was kind of the last question we had. Josh and I, obviously, we've taken our kids out a little bit, but you try to pick those times when it's early season, warm out. You don't want to throw them out there in the middle of the cold. But on the flip side, Josh, did you go with your dad at all rifle hunting when you were younger?
Yep.
Did your dad bow hunt? Did he take you out bow hunting? Okay.
Never
So
bow hunting. I only went rifle hunting.
Okay, so you only went during firearm season.
Mm-hmm. That I can remember, anyways.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking here, like, how soft are we being on our kids? Let's just take them out when it's nice out. When I went out hunting, guess what it was? It was that first week of November, and usually it was in the teens, 20s maybe.
Yeah.
There's snow on the ground. It was cold. There's no mercy there. And guess what? I'm still hunting. You know what I mean? Now it's like,
Yeah, I don't remember
let's
it being
get them in
real
a
cold,
box
though.
stand. What's that?
So I don't remember it being cold when I went, like complaining about it being cold.
Well, when you're younger, it's never cold.
Yeah, that's true.
As you get older, it's like, man, it's cold out. When you're younger, it's like, this feels good. That's even like my kids when they sleep at night. They want it like they sleep best when it's like 68, 67 degrees, and I'm freezing. Like, I need like that 70 mark for myself. But no. Yeah, it's all
Funny
good.
story
Okay,
about mine. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's hear it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, when I was in third grade, my dad signed me out of school early so I could go deer hunting with him. And he put down the reason as that I had buck fever.
Nice. Yeah, there's a few people that use that one yet. And you know what? That's a pretty darn good excuse to get out of school in my mind. All right, I'm going to have you guys call your shot here to end the podcast. Travis, I'm going to have you go first. What's going to happen this year? Call your shot.
I think, I don't know. Dad got a good buck last year. I didn't really get one. I got a feeling we're both gonna get one early not first weekend early, but like beginning half of October. I think we're both gonna have bucks on the ground.
Okay, your ideal setting. Where are you shooting them? Transition area, food plot, bedding.
It'll be transition. We got the bedding that where I'm gonna be hunting majority of the time that you can't get in there close enough to hunt the actual bedding. They see you coming. But we got. There used to be cornfields, or one side was a cornfield, one was hayfield. They're both hayfields this year, and I got a feeling once that first frost hits and that alfalfa is really the only good green thing out there, they're gonna be coming to that, and we kind of got an idea where they are and where they're coming. I got a good feeling where we're gonna get on them. I think.
Who's taking out first, you or your dad?
Probably him. I got a feeling I'll probably see something like that first question yet. I'll see a borderline buck that I probably won't shoot and I should. But I kind of got my eyes set. There's 4 that for sure, if I see them, they're going down. And there's a couple on the edge, which I really hope I don't see them because I probably will shoot.
Yeah.
Really shouldn't. But there's options. And there's always some other ones that show up and know what happens.
It's hard to, like, these bucks that you're watching right now, they're pretty standard for around here. Like you said, there's nothing like jaw dropping, like holy Lord, like I'm losing sleep over this guy. They get good deer, don't get me wrong. But have you ever thought about, like, I'm going all in on this buck here, getting by to the next year, even though he might score the most, but maybe he's got the most potential? Have you ever thought about that at all?
Oh yeah, there's two this year that could be really special. One is on one if I see him, I'm not shooting him. I can't. He's got a drop time. He's got a kicker off his base, and it's a legit drop time, like off the main beam coming down. He's a young deer. You can tell.
It's like 2.
Yeah, he's got potential. Then there's another one that could be 2, maybe 3. He's got a little bigger frame, but he's got a split G2, big split G3, 5 points on the other side, and he could be. That's the one that he's a game time decision. I don't know. I really shouldn't shoot him, but odds of him surviving are slim, so it's always tough to call. You gotta get if he gets hard pumping. I guess if I see him, then we'll find out. But
We'll be ready for the phone calls. Josh, call your shot.
I think I'm going to kill both my tags, South Dakota and Minnesota, within like 2 weeks that last, October 20th to November 5th. Basically, because we have a late rifle season, that last week of October and that first week of November, that's when I think I'll fill both my tags.
Why do you say that? What is it that makes you feel that way?
I think I'm going to kill my Minnesota one first, and I think that I'm going to kill him over us probably like on 1 or 2 scrapes that I've got some history with this one deer anyways that I'm pretty high on my list. So I think between that spot earlier, that early end of October, and then South Dakota, I just like, you can call, you can move around, and you're going to see a lot of deer. So I think that one's kind of, it's not baked, but I know I'm going to have opportunities. Now, I might not kill anything big, but.
So strategy is scrape here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And out there, I'll probably do more calling and, glass from a distance and try to cut distance and be a little bit more mobile, like on my feet.
I listen to a lot of podcasts and people talk about, like, why do you have a stand here? And the person's like, well, back in 94, there was a big buck that come out and, shot it. And if you look at it, from a standpoint of, okay, predominant winds, where the deer are bedding, all that stuff, it doesn't line up. But it was that one moment that they had success that they just continued to ride that wave, right? Now, you shot your buck last year in a scrape area, correct?
Yeah.
Is it because of that situation that you're? What's that?
Not over a scrape, but near. Like he was going to go work it eventually. You could tell he was going to go that way.
So is that confidence from last year? Is what's driving your thoughts right now for this year?
Yeah, I mean a little bit. I think part of it is too, like, I'm trying to hone in like what skill sets I have and like what best fit, like what opportunities I have that best fit my skill set, I guess is a better way to say it. And so last year, like I had a game plan of a strategy going in and I pretty much stuck to my guns and, it wasn't a first sit's your best sit strategy. It was basically bounce between 2 stands and this stretch of area because I know that's a heavily used area during this time of year. And so it was more hours in the stand, but playing the wind. And I was bouncing between 2 stands and there was a third one in there. But I was spending most of my time between those 3 stands based on the wind, just knowing that they're going to be in that area at some point. And so I was kind of more or less just grinding it out. And so it's kind of going to be a little bit of my strategy going into this year. Know that this is like year 4 of history with this one buck. And so I kind of know what his core area is in that month of October. And so I could kill him earlier, but I think my best opportunity is going to be in that last half of October.
I'm just like visualizing, Travis, your properties, Josh, yours, mine. yeah, like Travis said, like early season, you guys would have a good chance of shooting a deer. Just the way your property's laid out, you know, a lot more egg, a lot less places for deer to
Hmm.
hide. You can kind of pinpoint them a little better. Where us, a little more big woods, swamp, all that stuff. Where, um, you know, more hunters around us. I think archery season, and
Yeah.
it's just one of those things like you're talking about, Josh, is just logging hours, and that's going to be one of my strategies this year. I already informed my wife. I said, just let you know, I'm going to up the game a little bit this year. I'm probably going to be logging a few more hours in the stand. And last year, to be honest with you, I really didn't log the amount of hours I wanted to, but at the same time, this is what's always tough for like myself is like when I leave the house, like we were just talking about with Sarah here, it's always in the back of my mind what's going on at home, with the kids and all that stuff. So that's one thing, as the kids get older, hopefully they're a little easier to take care of and, kind of leaves
Yeah.
my mind to rest a little bit and go fully committed into mentally hunting, and being
Yeah.
able to go out there and be confident, not sitting there worried about, okay, should I be back at home? Am I even going to see anything tonight? Whatever. But um, as far as myself calling my shot, I'll be driving to South Dakota, and that's where I'm going to start because I got a good feeling about in South Dakota this year after hunting a couple different ranches now. Kind of getting the feel of how things work out there and how the deer like to travel. I have a spot that's kind of a staple that we went out and checked the stand, and that it's like a cattle path. I mean, there's cattle that walk it, but this is a deer path from point to point, a little bend in the creek, and it goes to another point in the creek where it bends, and that's right where I've shot 2 deer in the past. That's a high odds stand. And then also on top of that, another property that I have, we fine-tuned some spots, some stands. That's going to have whoever sitting in there in the game, whether it's early season, which we usually go out there middle October. We got some stands set on the edge. So right on the edge of this bedding, where I saw that really big 10-pointer last year step out midday, we got a stand set there, and then we got one set in deeper into the bedding where a lot of deer continuously bed. We picked that up when we were out there turkey hunting. We walked in there and just deer were scattering everywhere. I'm like, okay, it's pretty obvious that this is a pretty hardcore bedding area. So you hop in there when the rut's going on and the bucks come cruising through to check out what's in there. But I would have to say this MEA, which is like the 17th, 18th October, we'll go out there for 3.5 day hunt, and I got a pretty strong feeling that I'm going to put something on the ground. I don't know if I'll probably, I mean, this is just, I'm not going to lie, I'll probably be picky day 1, day 2, day 3, if something mature comes out, but it's not high scoring, I'm probably still going to shoot it, Got a picture of some nice bucks out there already that are legit wall hangers. So, I mean, we got something to shoot for, but that's kind of my thought on South Dakota. However, if we don't capitalize in October, I know my uncles want to go back out there if we don't get anything. And you know what? That might be a situation too where I just like going out there. I might just tag along just to go with out there again, when they go back out there. It's a lot of fun. I like getting out of state and just seeing deer. When you get out Dakotas out west, you see deer, and that's just I enjoy doing that. So that's my South Dakota. As far as Minnesota goes, I gathered a lot of intel. This last year hunting a permission property. I feel like I'm going to get on a lot more deer over there, and it's probably going to be that late October. That's when the trail camera pictures really started to ramp up. But also I'm really looking at that, the history of the trail camera photos that I've had last year and seeing, okay, and trying to figure out why this deer is here. Last year, it was this year, I found 2 fawns that were just born like that morning. I went to go check my apple trees and I went walking out and all of a sudden I saw something moving. I thought it was a coyote. And there's 2 fawns and they were like wet yet from being born. So I knew they were born that morning. And then I went and looked at, the gestation period of a deer and it's like, what, 200 or 201 days or something. And then I went back 200, 201 days roughly and looked at my trail cameras and there's a point running and grunting on my trail camera on video mode chasing a deer. And that tells me that, okay, this is probably going to be a good time of year when there's going to be a doe and estrus in the area. I need to make sure I'm in the stand. However, that'll be the middle of firearm season this year, I think, is the 17th. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, it's always tough for me because, Josh, how many years have you been hunting your property?
Since 2011. So, this will be my 13th season or whatever, 13 years.
Okay. Travis, you've been hunting yours for life.
Our home farm, but then the neighbors, it's been
Sure.
4 years now.
Yep. And my properties, my permission property, this will be year 2. Or sorry, year 3. This is year 3 now. And then my property, it's year 5. So I'm still in those early stages yet, but I'm starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together. But as you know, I mean, you could hunt a property for years and you're still trying to figure it out. There's still spots on the home farm here where we are starting to put some pieces together, but still it's just, there's always those other pieces that you're looking for, to really, put the smack down on them.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can learn a property. Like I know my property pretty well, and like I would say even for us, we've always been like pretty into deer hunting, but like the actual strategy and like how much we've deep dived is, I'd say the last 5 years is for all of us probably. Yep. Even like my other buddies, it's like more the last 5 years is when you've really like been thinking about it. But then, point being is like you learn your property, but then you got to learn the individual deer too. Like not every buck does the same thing. You're going to have commonalities from year to year, but certain bucks are going to do things a little bit differently too. And so learning that individual deer along with your property and then combining both that information together, I think that's kind of the secret sauce.
Yeah, no doubt. And this year, it's going to be a good year. I got a good feeling about this year. I think there's going to be a lot of deer hitting the ground. I think, we're going to have some good success in state and out of state. I think it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to your guys' out of state. You guys doing out of state again?
That's up in the area. I didn't draw for South Dakota for public.
Oh, sure.
But we typically would go during our rifle hunt, which is middle of November. But now with the little one on the way again, well, she's actually due November 20th. So it's might not work out the greatest to leave right around then. So ideally shoot something early and maybe like end of October-ish, maybe make a quick trip like North Dakota or something. But we'll see. I never know what the plan really is.
Neither do I.
Nope.
But we'll find out. And I don't know. Josh, you got anything else to add? Otherwise, we'll probably shut this guy down.
No, nothing. Other than I forgot to mention, like when you're grinding out spots, kind of get into strategy a bit. It's like, one thing I've been doing, and I know you've been doing it too, is like I use a mountain bike because I don't have an e-bike, but you use your electric bike and I use my mountain bike, fat tire bike for access, or I use a kayak when I can to really minimize any, scent on the ground, any scent. Because I think, people get the misconception that you grind out a spot and you can burn it out. But I think if you hunt it safe and you use good access, like you can pretty much sit in the same stand as much as you want, as long as you're not busting deer from the stand. if you can get to it without leaving a bunch of scent and having any of those big deer cross it, I think you're pretty much, you're golden.
I was really thinking about that today on one of my properties. Is like, there's a spot I would really love to hunt, but the problem is I can't get out of there without busting up everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest challenge is like, yeah, you might have some good spots, but you're going to burn it out because you're going to be blowing everything up when they're out in the field and it's time to get out. No, it's not. It's not. But yeah, it just, I need to reconstruct some things on the property to make better spots. And I've started toying around with that this past spring by doing some planting and stuff, but it's a challenge, put it that way. It's a challenge. And you know what's easy for me? It's easy. It's easier for me. I don't know if it's this way for you guys too or not, but it's easier for me to look at somebody else's property and tell them what I would do to their property compared to me looking at my own property and pulling the trigger on something. Like, it's like I'll walk onto somebody else's property. I'm like, oh, obvious. This is what you need to do. Where like my own property, I just, it's harder for me to see things clearly, because I had a vision of it when I first came in, when I first bought it, like, oh, this is going to be sweet or whatever. And then all of a sudden, well, no, that's not working. But I don't know. That's for me to figure out as time goes on, and having people like yourselves come over to my place. And that's what it takes sometimes too. You coming over, I had Art Rook come over to my place this past spring, and he was listing things off. I'm like, duh, yeah, perfect. Yes, that's exactly what I should be doing. And that's what I kind of did. I actually put some spruce trees in my lower land closer to my swamp, and I look back and think about his property. I'm like, yeah, those are deer magnets right there. That's perfect. So I've started to, alter it a little bit like that, but it's the access part that I'm referencing, I guess, that is so difficult. There's good spots, but to get in and out undetected is the biggest challenge.
100%.
All right.
Otherwise, you get one set.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of what I've done, is just, I'm going all in on this day, and if it works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. But well, I'll tell you what, we're going to shut this down. This might be probably our last podcast before the archery opener. Good luck to everyone out there. Stay safe. Wear a safety harness like Travis was talking about before. They don't cost much. Just go out there and buy one quick. If you don't have one, highly recommend getting one before you head out this fall. Enjoy it, have fun, and with that, good luck to everybody. Good luck to you guys, and thanks to everybody who's listening. And we'll catch you later.
Yep.
And there you have it, you guys. The season is right around the corner. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Intensity is picking up as we speak. I got trail camera pictures coming in. I'm getting pretty excited. I hope you guys are excited. I hope you guys are having success out there in the other states that are already opened. Once again, always remember safety. Make sure you get a safety harness. You better double check everything right now while you're listening to this to make sure you got everything ready to go. You don't want to get to opening day and forget something. So with that, I just want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors: Arctic Shield, Domain Outdoor, J&R Outdoors, Skullcraft, The Fish Guide, Tact Cam, and Fourth Arrow Cam Arms. Lastly, thank you guys and gals out there, the listeners. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a like and follow on all our other social media pages like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Started playing around with TikTok this year. It's kind of fun. But with that, stay safe out there. Good luck to everyone who's going to be starting up the season, and hopefully those of you in other states whose season has already opened, hope you're having some success. All right, we'll catch you guys later. Thanks for listening.